I'm going to go ahead and put this back.
Could be worse. It could be a frozen wasteland like the rest of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Like me.
Yeah.
Boy.
All right. It's thinking. I think it might be coming back.
I was gonna say, like, for what all we say about the album art, it could be worse. It could be Death Penalty by Witchfinder General.
I'll have to remember that one.
Okay.
I forgot to mention Smell the Glove from This is Spinal Tap. I totally should have.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right.
I mean, well, there's, of course, Virgin Killer by the Scorpions, the
guys.
one that I'm pretty sure is illegal.
Rob, I mean, Logan. Yep.
I think we're back on.
Are we?
Okay.
Okay. I may need to do...
I don't know if we...
ES.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, we've had to... All right, Aru's found us.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had issues here because of all the wind that's been going on.
Yeah.
So, are we on like a different stream now, or?
Way to go, Floridian.
Yeah.
You really screwed the pooch this time.
I blame Florida because it sucks.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's America's Wang.
Exactly.
We prefer to call it the Sunshine State.
Sunshine, my blood. Anyway.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is the point to put up the cheat with the technical difficulty sign, but it looks like we're back, so I guess not.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I know a few messages just came through in chat, but I am not seeing them on the stream here.
Yeah. Arus is back, Sharon is back, and Mo is back.
Yeah.
Mole is back. Meliza,
Yes,
I assume that's pronounced.
Mm-hmm. So I will just put this up for right now.
Yay! There it is.
Okay, Mo just showed up with her last one there on the stream that I had going itself. So,
Right. Anyway,
so we were finishing
I
up
don't
on the
know
birthday massacre.
what end Mike's thoughts went through, but did you want to kind of summarize again what you thought of the Birthday Massacre album?
My commentary was extremely scattershot. What I was trying to say is it has a very nostalgically evocative sound that I really like about it, and it is some good shit, and I need to check out more of what the band has done. That's as succinct as I can get about it without going all rambly like I did.
Yeah, same here. I'm definitely going to have to check out their other stuff.
All right, so keeping that in mind, Logan, you're up.
Oh, boy. All right, so let's go to Cold Facts by Rodriguez.
All right.
They were another band that was, or another artist, rather, who was really big in Africa, South Africa specifically like apartheid era South Africa. And, of course, Rodriguez himself was born in the small African village of Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So that's the entire reason I did that out of order, by the way, is so I could make that joke and have them follow Amanaz. So, yeah, Rodriguez. So there's a really good kind of semi-professional documentary out there called Searching for Sugar Man.
Sugar Man, yeah. I know about that one. That's why it sounded familiar. Sadly, I haven't seen it yet, but my brother has, and he really likes it. I've obviously got to see it now myself, though. So.
Okay, good.
But I am familiar with
your brother. You know what? Your brother should be on the show. Let's kick this fucker off.
He should be. He's actually much more of a music nerd than I am, if you can believe it. So
yeah. No, but yeah, Rodriguez. Rodriguez put out 2 albums in the early 1970s. There was Cold Facts and then another one, I forget the name of it. But didn't really do anything in America. I think there was one line in the documentary, probably like printed about 1,000 copies, maybe like 10 people bought it, including Rodriguez's parents. So didn't really do anything in America. In South Africa, it not only was he big, they basically said in South Africa he was roughly the size of like Elvis and the Beatles. He was massive, absolutely massive. Wow. And this was just through distribution of like bootleg cassettes and kind of just like really poor, because that, you know, again, South Africa, that's just kind of how music transferred. You didn't like go out to a record store, buy an album. It was mostly just by trading bootleg cassettes. And there were all of these rumors circulating about Rodriguez, most popular of which is that he shot himself on stage in 1975 and died.
Wow,
that was not true.
Crazy.
That was not true. That was not true.
Yeah.
What actually happened is he was alive and working construction for the better part of like 40 or so years, completely unaware that he had any sort of following anywhere. They asked him, like, did you ever make any money off of this? No, I had no idea. I had no idea anyone was listening to these albums. Also, at some point, I think he ran for mayor of Dearborn. He didn't win. I think I don't even think he really made much of a presence, but he did try to run.
Huh.
Crazy.
But like, and like at the end of the documentary, you get to see like they finally tracked this guy down again, and the cool thing too about him is even once he did finally like manage to sort of capitalize on this fame, which, you know, as a result of this documentary, not just kind of alerted South Africa to the fact that this guy was actually still a living, breathing person, but it, I think, sort of brought a lot of attention to him, even in America, finally. He still worked construction. He was basically living a double life, just this everyday Joe Schmo working man guy working construction, and then at night he would fly to South Africa and perform for audiences of like 10,000 plus people. And he was still a working man because, I mean, I guess that's just what he knew, and he was just a really humble guy.
Construction worker by day, superstar by night.
More or less up until he died just a couple of years ago, in fact. I think it was, I want to say 23 or 24. I think it was 24 because I was working at my one job when I found out that he died. And I was like, oh my God, no. Because like at that point, he had become one of my favorite artists. And that's that's something I should actually point out, is that I pointed out that I did that list of like top 50 artists. I discovered Rodriguez afterwards. If I hadn't, I probably would have included him on the list as well. But like, of the artists I included on this list, I would say like maybe 3 or 4 of them would probably be in that list. Death Penalty definitely was on that list. It was probably like number 15 or so. But yeah, really fascinating album, really fascinating story. And if you listen to the album, like, there was definitely production quality in there. It genuinely amazes me why it didn't really sell in America. But I think, like, it just sort of goes to show, like, once people really did start to listen to it, it blew up. It blew up in South Africa as a result of the bootleg tape trading scene, and it blew up here once Searching for Sugar Man came out and kind of gave him the exposure that he was not granted in the early 70s in America.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So, since we want to try and fit this rest of this to the next hour, and hopefully there's no more nothing getting knocked out between now and then, why don't we jump right into our commentary here, Mike?
Good shit, very good shit. I mean, I had heard of Sisto Rodriguez from the being aware of the documentary, which I'm a total fraud because I haven't seen yet, but I owe it to myself to do that now after listening to this album, because wow, it's just really freaking good. Just a lot of really, like, it says it's like folk rock as a category, sort of, but I don't know. This isn't really what I think of with folk. It's more like almost it's almost also like sort of jazz rock, like sort of dancing on the edge of prog, arguably, but like some funk in there, some worldly influences, but it's that there's just a lot of gears that this album's running on, and I it's really incredible. I should feel like I should give it another listen at some point. It's just really, I was very impressed by it.
I would say it's like folk rock in the way like Donovan is folk rock, like kind of like taking the existing Bob Dylan sound and sort of running with it and expanding it to this really just kind of really wide open, far more experimental and slightly higher production sound. Like, I think Donovan would probably be a decent comparison to Rodriguez, but I would imagine Dylan was also. I would imagine Dylan was also Bob Dylan was also not insignificant influence as well.
It is possible, yeah, but no. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I'll say that might explain why I actually like this album. I'm not big on folk rock at all, but something like he was doing, it did not irritate me.
Yeah.
And
I was surprised.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You said you were surprised.
Yeah, I assumed this was one of the first ones that you listened to for whatever reason, and I was thinking I would be surprised if you liked this.
It was the first one that I posted a link to when we were doing this in the Discord. That would be why.
Yeah, so I kind of got the feeling, hey, maybe Rob actually likes this. It doesn't usually sound like his type of beat, but it just kind of sounds like it transcends genres. So, I hope he gets a fair ear for it. And yeah, no, you've confirmed. It's a good fucking album.
In fact, I would say my standout tracks, just so you know, would be Sugar Man and Only Good for Conversation.
Oh yeah. And then there's like another thing too. Sorry, I'm like just ranting about this documentary. I'm just a nerd who likes to geek out about nerd shit.
That's totally fitting though, so that's fair.
Yeah. Like for example, like and you gotta also keep in mind, like, there's songs like I Wonder. There's the line in there, I wonder how many times you had sex. Even talking about sex or like hearing about that in apartheid era conservative South Africa was just mind blowing.
Yeah, this song got occasionally spicy.
You kind of understand how that sort of worked in a sort of like generally kind of closed off apartheid era state at the time. It's just like, oh, here's this wild guy talking about like sex and relationships and these sort of taboo subjects, which, you can't really ever even like talk about unless it's like behind closed doors.
Yeah, this album occasionally got spicy, which I thought was I wasn't expecting it to, but for the time that did help to make it, I'd say, even more groundbreaking as well. Like there's just a bunch of unexpected surprises with it, and that just I think that really helps it help it stand out, hold up all the more today because. It's Cold Fact's just awesome. Everyone go listen to it like right now.
Also,
I second that emotion.
Want to say also, Carla's joined us in the chat. So hi, Carla.
Hello, Carla.
Hey, Carla, what up?
So
how's it going?
Don't bother about. Don't worry about what happens. Absolutely, no issues. Technical hiccups whatsoever. Nothing happened.
Nope.
Don't worry your pretty little head about it. It's fine.
No cheek shrugging.
All right, Mike. What's your next one?
The other one, which I thought would be relatively tepidly received, I don't know why I went with it because I'm very up and down on this man's discography, but I do like most of "I'm Your Man" by Leonard Cohen, which Cohen, I don't even know where to begin with him because he's been around for so long, but he's always just kind of stylistically kind of been on the fringe edge of what is generally accepted to be popular music for the most part. It's really, really kind of hard to get a category down for him, especially since
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, right. He's changed his sound. He's changed his sound a lot over his very, very long career. But what is always distinctive is his relatively raspy and low-cast voice, which only got even deeper over time. He was more, I think, of a songwriter primarily than a singer. So I know his voice can be a deal breaker for some because some might argue it's not even really much of a singer's voice. But at the same time, that does also make him, I think, stand out more. I guess like some of his stuff almost borderlines on spoken word at times, but he also does have like backup singers on almost all of his tracks because I think he was also somewhat acknowledging of his own weaknesses as an actual artist. I don't think he expected to get as big as he did, and if I'm not mistaken, the past few albums before this one were not so well received. I might be mixing, I might be wrong, but I think he took a little bit of a hiatus before he came back with "I'm Your Man" and gave it darker, more.
Well, the album right before that was the one with "Hallelujah" on it, which is the. I mean, one of his biggest songs, but also I would say like it was kind of bigger once someone who could actually sing covered it.
Yeah, there's no question that Jeff Buckley's "Hallelujah" is superior to the original. I don't think a lot of people would argue that. The original is extremely cheesy, and I unfortunately negatively associate it with Zack Snyder's Watchmen, so there is that.
And I got it up, hallelujah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
But yeah. I'm Your Man was definitely a more modern tack for the time. And I think like Leonard kind of really went back to the drawing board before he thought about what he was going to do with this one, and it was a huge hit for its time, and it is the album of his that stands out the most for me of all the ones of his that I've listened to. And I would say that maybe like his couple of the albums I did in this when he was just starting out were arguably better than this one, but this one I think is one of his standouts to be sure. So,
all right, so
yeah, that's my pitch.
Logan, your thoughts?
So I'd say with Leonard Cohen, I am most familiar with his very first album, Songs by Leonard Cohen. Has some really good folkier songs on it, really well I agree with you. Leonard Cohen, first and foremost, is a songwriter, and a damn good one at that. Songs off that album Suzanne is a really good one. So Long, Marianne. Um, Other songs that begin with S, I'm sure. Um, but this one definitely kind of threw me for a loop. I was not expecting necessarily this sound. Uh, but it reminds me a lot. Speaking of Bob Dylan, it reminds me a lot of "Oh Mercy," which is an album that Bob Dylan released around this same time. And
Yeah,
much
some
like
would
that
say.
album,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, much like that album, I would say is very criminally underrated.
Yeah,
Um,
Oh Mercy, I think I get the impression that's like the only album that Dylan did in the 80s that's worth saving because that was otherwise a very not great
it was
period
well,
for
like
him. From what I
especially like the
understand.
early '80s was kind of like his Born Again era, which you can
Yeah,
kind
he
of
got
take or leave. I mean, like Slow Train Coming was sort of like the beginning of that Born Again era, and I will defend that album somewhat.
yeah, that's fair.
But it has like I mean, like the one song, "You Gotta Serve Somebody." Like I like that one. And then like Dylan just I think like once the sort of Born Again thing sort of ran its course, I feel like for a while Dylan was just sort of floundering creatively, just like what the hell do I do now? And then I think Oh Mercy is sort of when at least for a little while he kind of came back on track. But this
Yeah,
sort of reminds me a little bit of that, just sort of how it is musically and lyrically as well to a degree. Uh, I
yeah,
I will say like I feel like there's a there's a lot of moments where I feel like the backup singers are doing like 60% of the work.
it's
Which,
Cohen for you. Sometimes I get the
yeah, I mean
impression
like
that's totally fair.
I guess
Uh,
what you were saying sort of I guess I do kind of see it in that light. It's like Cohen kind of being aware of his vocal deficiencies, and as a result, just
hmm.
being like, I know that I'm not a very good singer, so I'm just going to have the backup singers do most of the work.
Mhm.
But I mean, fair enough. He's a much better songwriter than a singer, and I wouldn't even necessarily say he's a bad singer. I think he's just kind of an
Yeah.
acquired taste. I'll tell you what Leonard Cohen reminds me a ton of, and it's going to make so much sense once I say this. Tom Waits. Because they both kind of
Yeah,
started out the
yeah,
same way. They
absolutely.
both kind of
Yeah,
started out the same way, too. Like, if you listen to, like, early Tom Waits, first of all, like, he sounds nothing like you think Tom Waits sounds. If you listen to like
yeah,
one of the earlier like 72, 73 albums of Tom Waits, he sounds just kind of like a generic, not great, not bad folk singer. And it took maybe like 10 years and a couple thousand cigarettes later, and he sounded
yeah,
really good.
yeah. Nighthawks at the Diner. Tom Waits is not the same person as Mule Variations. Tom Waits. There's no question there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's two totally different bands,
It's night
and
and
I
day.
think
Yeah,
like Leonard Cohen is. I would and for the record, like Tom Waits, I like his vocal style. I think it's kind of an acquired taste, but
totally.
I think like Leonard Cohen is kind of like that too, where like whether you like or hate Tom Waits' sound, whether it's the early era Tom Waits or the later era like Big in Japan era Tom Waits. I think we can agree in both cases with Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen. The songwriting is better than the vocals. Um,
Indeed.
yeah. Some standout tracks for me. First, we take Manhattan. That's the first track on the album. I thought it was really good. Ain't
Yep.
No Cure for Love and The Tower of Song. Overall, so I'd say my biggest issue with the album is that you have like half of a really good album and half of just kind of slightly above average filler. Apart from Tower of Song, which is one of the last songs on the album and a standout in my opinion. That said, I would say the still sort of outweighs the kind of mid to bad.
Yeah, it's a totally fair assessment. My memory's actually a little bit rusty when I recommended this one, and I apologize for Jazz Police. That one's kind of bad.
Yeah. I think we need to. The less said about that one, the better.
They can't all be zingers.
The Primus Maxim. Now,
look,
yeah.
By the record, play side 1. We don't need to talk about side 2. Just play side 1.
Relatively.
Now,
that's a fair way of putting it. That's fair.
I pretty much completely zoned out when you guys started talking about Dylan and Waits. So,
yeah, not Rob's Sector either.
No, I got drawn.
I'm a
back
Dylan fan, but I understand why people don't jive with him. He can be a very off. His voice can be very off-putting, and I don't blame people for being off-put by his voice.
Well, as far as Cohen's concerned here with this album, I don't think it really quite fits what he was seemed to be originally going for, which is new wave. And then he kind of went into the kind of stuff I expected from him, where it fit a bit better. And overall, it was okay. But absolutely nothing I'd listen to on a regular basis.
Okay is better than what I expected. I will say that.
Well, if I had to pick any standout tracks,
I don't really know. I can't really pinpoint anything that really sounds like this album. I think I agree with Dyer that maybe it was kind of starting to go for a sort of more mainstreamy pop album, but it's Leonard Cohen, so I think he knew he couldn't really pull that off, so he kind of tried to do this weird in-between of a mainstream pop album and the shit that he was normally doing. And it's in a weird way, I'm not going to say it didn't work, because the end result, I think, was still totally fine. It's just, I guess I don't really know. I don't know if he was trying to do everything and failed, or if he was trying to do his own thing and succeeded.
Hard to say. I will say the standout tracks for me would be First We Take Manhattan and I Can't Forget.
Yep. And don't forget Jazz Police. Where are you coming from, Jazz Police? Nobody knows where you are.
I apologize for that one.
Yeah, no, Jazz Police. It's a great song. It goes, Jazz Police, where are you coming from? Jazz Police, nobody knows where you are.
Seems like you can interchange that with Spider-Man and...
Yeah.
Have you not heard of Dog Police? Do I need to put that on the list next time?
It actually reminds me of the Simpsons episode Sky Police, which is an interesting one for modern era Simpsons. But I am glad we at least agree First We Take Manhattan is the lightning rod.
Put Dog Police on the list if you guys have never heard that album. It is fantastic.
I have not.
Oh, you have? Good.
So,
you haven't? Okay.
No.
Well, then I'll need to, if we ever do this again, I'm going to need to put that on the list.
All right. So, remember, let's try and speed things up a little bit because it's 11:20 now. So, all right. So,
yeah, fair.
Guess we're up to my next album here.
Yeah.
And I am going to pick Marina Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land. Now, this one is kind of my out of left field pick. It's pop, but I've heard all of her stuff. And whereas like her early stuff was definitely more pop oriented, kind of light, fluffy. By the time she got to this album, she seemed to, be a lot more serious, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think it sounds really, really good. It's probably my favorite album of hers. So, Logan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of wondered. Weird, I didn't write Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land. That's the Marina album, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, weirdly, I didn't write down the name of the artist in my notes for this one. Yeah, I that's actually interesting that you said that, because I kind of wondered if her other stuff was like this. It's so Elephant in the Room. This is a very political album.
Mm-hmm.
And while I respect and generally agree with at least the sentiments of the album, I kind of wish it did more. Like, take Rage Against the Machine, for example. They were entirely serious, and as a result, I think they burned themselves out way too quickly, to a point where they didn't even get to the Bush administration, who kind of needed them the most.
Mm-hmm.
Or on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have U2, who, did a lot of really biting political songs, definitely had like their own agenda, and some would argue that, maybe Bono is a little bit too preachy. But in my response to that is, they aren't just a political band. They have their political songs, and they are very good, but they also have just kind of like some good poetry out there, which is also really good. And there's nothing wrong with political or protest albums. Even even some, I've even put some on my list for you guys to listen to. And even if I disagree with the politics, for example, Ted Nugent is one of my favorite artists, just because he's a really fucking good guitarist and songwriter. But Helen Reddy, Sinead O'Connor, U2, all huge activists, but they don't really let politics run their entire personality. And to be fair, I think with this album, the second half kind of eases back a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think to a point it just gets a little bit exhausting to listen to. And like I said, I generally agree with the sentiments, but there was one line that really rubbed me the wrong way. It was her saying, "Britney shaved her head and we just called her crazed." That is not at all what the Free Britney movement was about. She was diagnosed crazy. That was never in contention. She was diagnosed, I believe, bipolar or borderline personality. Either way, crazy.
Yeah, something like
that. The Free Britney movement was about whether she deserved autonomy over her own life despite that. So, she kind of completely misunderstood that entire thing.
To be fair, I'm not even sure if that's what that particular line was about, but you might be right. I will say, out of all of her albums, this is probably the most political, because she did an album, I think,
kind of wondered if that was the case.
Yeah.
I think she has genuine talent when it comes to songwriting, even with some of the political stuff and the pop composition. It's just kind of a shame that it's so one note. Generally speaking, again, the album kind of course corrects a little bit towards the end. And some standout tracks, Venus Flytrap might actually just be my favorite, and also Flowers, which is a really nice I kind of forget if it was kind of like a breakup song, generally speaking, if I remember right. Overall, it is decently good at one thing, and I wish there was a bit more. Even in the last few songs, which were less overtly political, though, her songwriting, vocals, and instrumentation were top notch.
All right, Mo, have a good night. Well, you might
Take care, Mo. Thank you so much for talking in.
You might want to check out her most recent album, Princess of Power. That's
I might have to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely, at least as far as I'm concerned, it seems to be a lot less political.
And like I just want to make it perfectly clear, like the political stuff is not what I have an issue with. It's like kind of the lack of variety.
Well, there's definitely variety in that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mike, what do you think?
I really liked it, especially the ones Man's World, at the risk of being a little bit too blunt on the nose, New America, and I Love You, But I Love Me More, all really good stuff. I realize we're running up against the clock here, so I'm not sure if I should really say much more. So, but it's a very good album. At least I liked it. A fair deal. So.
Hey, that works.
I'm sorry if you were expecting more, but
not particularly.
We each have 2 more albums to go with, and we're running up near midnight. Should we just go for one of the 2 albums we have left at this point? I hate to shortchange it because we did the homework, but I mean, I don't know.
Let's see how fast we get through the next one each.
Okay. That's
all right.
fair.
So, Logan, you're up.
Yeah, it's my turn. Which one did I do? Nazareth, I think. Yeah, Nazareth, self-titled. This is the band that I imagine most of you have at least heard before. I'm here to make the case that you are probably sleeping on their discography. Because I think most people kind of just know, like, the 2 songs by Nazareth, Hair of the Dog and Love Hurts. And Hair of the Dog, in general, I just think is a front-to-back classic album. But I'm here to make the case that there is a lot more to them. A lot more great albums, but just more kind of musical variety in general. Like this album it's a rock album. It's a relatively hard rock album first and foremost, but it also kind of gets into like this sort of classical orchestral instrumentation, kind of gets into the sort of folk rock that inspired the namesake. If you don't know, the name Nazareth comes from a lyric in a song by The Band. Rode into Nazareth, was feeling about half past dead.
Oh, take me by the hand. Yeah. I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah,
I'm not.
So if you like, so I just kind of wanted to maybe give a side of Nazareth that was maybe compatible with what you expected from them, but went a little bit beyond that. And I decided to go with their first album, which is their self-titled album. Which just one of the great sins of man is not on Spotify. If you want to listen to it, you either have to own a physical copy, either on vinyl, cassette, CD, whatever, or look it up on YouTube. So what did you guys think?
Mike?
Could you go first this time, actually? I don't trust myself to keep this short.
I can time you on it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I not to mention I didn't have a heck of a lot. to be sure, I mean, it's not like I have a heck of a lot to say, except I do think it is a solid rock album that is very characteristic of, I think, the hard rock and like proto metal of the time. I mean, I mean, you could argue it sort of even comes out of the same place that Witchfinder General did just a decade earlier, although
okay, time's up.
Arguably, less.
You were thinking the same thing. You beat me to it, Tyre.
All right, go on.
Really now? Okay. It comes from the same sort of area that Witchfinder General did, but of course a decade earlier. And being at their Scottish heritage, like the first thing I think was that they have parallels to early AC/DC, which is a band I certainly have mixed thoughts. What was that, Logan? Sorry, you kind of watered.
Oh, they're
out there.
Australian though.
Oh, they are. Right. Shit.
Yeah.
Were they always
I can forgive you. I mean, like the one song has like the bagpipe bit, so.
well, okay. I'm dumb. Okay, I could swear they had something to do with Scotland. I'm fucking dumb. Forget it. Anyway.
You were right about Nazareth, though. They are Scottish.
Yeah, and also remind me of Thin Lizzy of the era as well, who are Irish, and like that sort of sector of British hard rock that isn't quite metal, but we didn't really know what metal was, and they existed at the same time that Sabbath was debuting. That I just sort of got the vibes of the time of the era that it was, and I did really enjoy it. However, it was also such an overall consistent album that I'm not sure if I could pick any track that was just a real standout. I just thought it had a really solid, if not overtly consistent sound overall, but it definitely has gotten me interested in checking out more of what they've done. And wow, they have done a fucking lot of albums, like 20 or so. Jesus,
25. As of us doing the stream, 25.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
They're still going.
I just want to say one thing to that, Mike. Welcome to the fan club, brother. We have matching jackets.
Hey, so that's good to me. Yeah, definitely have to look into them more. I'll ask you after the stream what are some good ones to go for next. But for now, Rob, what'd you think?
I will read you exactly what I wrote here. Excellent album. First full one I've heard from Nazareth.
Yeah, solid.
And then my standout tracks would be Witch Doctor Woman and Morning Dew.
Mountain Dew, yeah. Or no, it is Morning Dew, right.
Mountain Dew. We
do the Dew, bro!
I would say, too, something about Mountain Dew. If you are... Whatever. I will say about Morning Dew, I'm thirsty, that's why. Morning Dew is, if you enjoy that song, there's a later mix or a later re-recording of that song from like later in the 70s. A lot better mixed and a lot heavier rocker.
Yeah. Okay.
So you might want to check that one out. It's off their Hot Tracks Greatest Hits LP.
I may just do that. Okay. So, all that said, let's move on to Mike.
Alrighty. Well, then the next one I got up is definitely the most, I'd say, divergent of the ones I've recommended because they've all been, something in the sector of...
Excuse you. Something
in the sector of rock, excuse me, yes. Here I went in defiance of, Tribe Called Quest's The Low End Theory totally flopping for Rob the last time we did this. I decided to pick another rap album, but one that I thought might be somewhat more amenable, and that's the sophomore album by the Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique. And from what I know of the Beastie Boys fandom, this is not their most commercially known one, but it is arguably like their secret best. Like License to Ill was just kind of just them dicking around for the most part. Paul's Boutique is where they really got serious and kind of focused their act and became one of the most unexpectedly stand out, rap acts of the, well, at that time, the late 80s, but like it certified their huge stardom that they ran into in the 90s, and it sounds just like how their sound would evolve later, as per especially like ill communication and body moving. But like, yeah, no, this one definitely goes up and down with its tempo, and it definitely had some standouts. I believe "Hey Ladies," "Shake Your Rump," and "Shadrach" were all singles, and those are probably the standouts to me. Really underrated one though. I really like "Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun," son of a bitch, getting paid, getting rich. But yeah, like I still think I haven't listened to the Beasties nearly enough myself. My brother, who I mentioned being the huge music head as he is very huge on them, and he was really devastated when MCA passed away, and also worried because John thought that like you know he made him, I think, a little more conscious of his own health, even though I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was cancer that took MCA. So, but nonetheless, that one just really got through to him. So, like, Beastie Boys just had a large influence on his life and mine to a lesser extent, and more so than License to Ill. I kind of think this one is where they really became the Beastie Boys that we all know nowadays. So, thank you.
I mean, we need like the Oscar mute. No, I'm kidding.
Please drop it.
I respect how impactful it was for you. I'm not sure how Dyer felt on the album. I hated it. I hated it.
Let me just ask this first.
I've definitely listened to a Beastie Boys album before. It was probably License to Ill, which I remember maybe liking a little bit more than this. But pre-NWA rap is kind of already going to start at a disadvantage for me. To be fair, I think that Beastie Boys clearly have more street cred than somebody like Vanilla Ice, but that's just like so low of a bar, and really like even the actual rappers like LL Cool J, Flavor Flav at the time were just so goddamn lame. Like, it is just like, this to me like borders on like youth pastor shit. Like, but all but also like this, I didn't like this, but yeah, I didn't like most rap from the time. This isn't really any worse than what LL Cool J was doing around this time either. In fact, it might be a little bit better.
Okay.
I do like the use of samples.
Oh, gotcha.
I do like the use of samples, and in fact, I think the songs that I liked the most were the ones where I feel like the music was doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and you didn't have to focus so much on the fucking dumbass frat bro fucking yell vocals.
I am going to admit this. I think Ad Rock can be grating to some, him especially. So
yeah,
I can kind of get that. I think the Pastor nip is a bit harsh, but I mostly think I see where you're coming from. Just let me ask this: you don't think Eminem is better than the Beastie Boys, do you?
Oh fuck yeah, a million times.
You're the second person I've ever come across, and I just cannot fucking fathom that. What the fuck?
It's because Eminem is rapping about like shit that matters, and Beastie Boys are rapping about dude frat show parties.
Okay, Rob, what'd you think of this one?
It has not changed my opinion of the Beastie Boys. Now, with them, I have always been a skip through albums to listen to the tracks I like guy. Much like with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
There were some tracks I did like, by the way. Johnny Royale being one, and I will agree with Mike. Under the what was it? Under the
looking down the barrel of a gun.
Like that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I would say was one of the standouts. And like, okay, I get that the band has said like, oh, the frat boy image was supposed to be like a parody. It was supposed to be ironic. Well, if you need liner notes to explain the irony, at best the irony has failed, and at worst it's probably bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
And now as far as standout tracks, I would say The Sounds of Science. And guess what? Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun.
I'm glad we at least agree that one's awesome.
Do you know how I first heard that song?
How's that?
Anthrax's cover of it.
They did a cover of it. Holy shit!
Cover of it? I need to check that out.
Oh my gosh, I gotta look this up. Yeah, fuck. Me too.
It should be on the Beavis and Butthead
better
Experience.
Than the Beastie Boys version. I would probably like it better than the original.
But you know,
I will say it's kind of funny that that Dyer picked "The Sounds of Science" as one of his standout tracks, because you know what song it primarily samples the most?
Do tell.
What's that?
"When I'm 64" by the Beatles.
That is ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if it's good, it's good, even if it comes from something that.
Victory lap. Anyway,
it's not much of a victory lap.
well, you know what? I take my wins where I can get them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so moving on to my next pick then would be. Now, this is definitely a very recent band.
Envy of.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right. This band is called Envy of None. And the thing about them is that they actually formed with Alex Lifeson from Rush on guitar.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, this was like, he wanted to still play music, but obviously Rush was finished, so he got together with some other musicians and formed Envy of None. And let me throw the cover up here. It's an excellent album. It is definitely not what I was expecting at first, but I liked it when I first heard it. They've since done a second album called Stygian Waves. And I think they have an EP as well. But this was about as far from Rush as you're going to get without going into a different genre entirely. But it's good. So, Logan, what'd you think?
I'm glad that you mentioned that it had that Alex Lifeson connection, because I was wondering why they only did like 2 albums over the course of 25 years. Usually that signifies some bigger artist's pet side project, and yeah, that is entirely what happened. As for the album itself, reminds me of some of the vibier songs from bands like Garbage, with a bit more synth. Or Radiohead, I think, was another band that kind of, like, some of the kind of proggier, vibier songs off of, like, OK Computer, for example. I think the album gets more proggy the further it goes on, reminding me a little bit of, like, earlier Genesis or Gentle Giant at times. Some of the standout tracks, Liar, Dog's Life, which is a Gentle Giant song. Not any relation to it, but there is a Gentle Giant song called Dog's Life. And also Dumb, which I think was a Garbage song. If not, it's probably one that they just forgot to write. Overall, yeah, it reminds me a lot of a bunch of different things, all of which succeed very well. Might have to check out their 2025 album to see if they ever really land on one specific sound. So that's one thing that I think I was kind of thinking throughout the album is, like, you know, my roommate has a band, and I can say first and foremost, when you're just starting out a band, um, you definitely like you put out your first outing, and it's kind of like a sort of I don't want to say schizophrenic because it's not really, but like this kind of like charcuterie of, well, we can do this and we can do this and we can do that, not really like laser focused on one particular thing. And that's kind of what this album uh that's kind of the thought process I had going into this is it's really good at a lot of things but doesn't really focus on any one thing and feels I hate to say inconsistent because I feel like that's maybe a little bit more negative than this album really deserves. But yeah, I guess a little bit inconsistent.
Okay.
Even though I don't necessarily think that's the worst thing in the world, especially the way it was executed here.
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
Logan's garbage comparison is actually pretty apt. I can definitely see that, especially from the probably arguably from the Bleed Like Me era in particular, where they were maybe a little bit more shoegazy. And this reminded me a lot of Lush as well, which is as favorable a comparison as I think I can give on that premise, because I know Rob's also
like garbage. I'll admit I've only ever listened to their one album, Absolutely Garbage, the one with all the hits on it.
Also, just so you know, Garbage did do a song called "Dumb," but it's not the one on Envy of None is not a cover.
I figured.
Okay, cool.
But that's funny that like the two bands that immediately came to mind also did songs that were standouts on this album with the same namesake as the ones on this album.
Yeah, Dumb is a really fantastic one. I thought Liar was great. What's the other one that I really like? Well, I definitely like Dog's Life more than Dog Years. I can say that. Sorry, Alex.
Dog Years better.
Yeah, definitely.
Come on! The poetry in that song. He was chasing cars in Doggy Heaven. Come on, Doggy Heaven.
Not
that boy, that girl.
Are those dogs I hear?
He had to reference virtuality too.
Well, you know, when you mention dogs, the first thing that comes to mind is this. Are those dogs I hear? That's what I hear.
Oh, well, but when you mention dogs, the first thing that comes to mind is Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. No, I'm joking.
Well, you know.
Womp womp. He brought a fisheye leg in a rat video with a couple of friends. It goes
I think what you were looking for, Mike, was this.
I'm losing my... Yeah. I'm losing my mind focus just a little bit, but yeah, no, it is a really fantastic album. Agreed, though, that...
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I agreed that is absolutely nothing like what Rush has ever done, which is a good thing that, you know, it's not just treading over familiar territory. It's like as he said, it definitely has an alternative sound, very evocative of the 90s, like, you know, not just Garbage, but maybe a little bit of, like, you know, the Breeders, Slater-Kinney, a bit PJ Harvey in there. The awesome alternative woman rock scene of the 90s, with some shoegaze mixed in. Like I said, it's just a I already used this word for one of the prior albums, but a very nostalgic album in all the right ways. So I should seek out Stygian Waves also. This is really good.
Yeah, I definitely would not have made a Rush connection if Dyer. Well, I didn't make the Rush connection until Dyer connected it for me. I guess maybe that's where sort of the proggier side of that album comes from, maybe.
Most likely.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think we can fit the last three in.
Okay.
That being said,
I think so too.
Logan, go with your final pick.
All right. My final pick is Eden, self-titled. This one, admittedly, was the one that maybe I was the least familiar with of my own picks. And mostly I just picked it because the personal connection I have to it is really interesting. So I found this album. So when I first started collecting records, it's, you know, any record collector will tell you where you start out with is either the records you get from your parents or records you find for cheap at like a Goodwill or a library or something. I am pretty sure I got this Eden record from my dad. He has no memory of this album. And I've looked into it, and the only possible explanation I can think of is he ordered it like mail order from like some metal mag back in the 80s. Because I think this might be too obscure to actually have been sold in stores. So he probably mail ordered it. And if you, like, I have this album, I barely have any context on how I could have gotten it other than I'm pretty sure I got it from my dad. And it's just like this generic red, almost like picture like the old Columbia label, but like even more generic than that. And either I got it from my dad or it just existed like as like some phantom album and it's actually cursed and I'm going to hell.
It
but
spontaneously materialized inside your collection one day.
It just materialized. I don't know. This album just materialized somehow. But I had to re-listen to it because it had been a little while since I listened to it. And I wondered like if that personal connection was clouding how I felt about the album. No, it just genuinely is really good. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Accept.
Oh yeah.
Get your balls
And like kind of like balls to the wall era, Accept. But there are a lot of standout tracks on this one album. Pound It Out, Panic in the City, Through the Looking Glass, Fighting Mad. And it's just really a shame. I have to assume just like they didn't really have the resources to really get like any sort of like video made, like get like really into like the MTV rotation, really get into any sort of like radio rotation, which is a shame because I feel like they could have been a lot bigger than they were.
All right, Iris, have a good one.
Hey, see you, Iris. Take care. Sorry, feel free to continue unless it goes over to
No,
us
I'm
at this
done.
point. Okay.
I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, this was also really surprisingly good, and it makes me recognize that this era of rock going into the 80s, I think, is really just kind of underrated in general because like some people think of it as the quote-unquote cock rock era, as it were, and that I guess sort of did damage the reputation of rock and metal at large, which is just really a huge shame. And for Rob and me, it's a massive sticking point of major irritation. But it's very unfair that like metal rock overall at that time just kind of got negatively characterized like that, because this is some really good shit that remind me that yes, there were great bands running of the time that were like this. Could I think of any off the top of my head? Like I want to say like Saxon and Sabaton and who's the other one? You might laugh, but I would say that Dokken, I was reminded a little bit when I listened to this.
They definitely had more cachet than the average like Poison or Warrant or Motley Crue or something.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I don't think they even.
and like the thing too is like even like the cock rockier of those bands, like it for what it's worth, the worst, like the best thing you can say about them is they at least had the guitar and musical chops to sort of overcome the kind of just dude frat bro-y nature of their lyrics. And it's kind of the same thing that happened with disco too. Like, disco, I feel like there's kind of like two camps of disco. There's the really kind of like soulful, funkier, like Bee Gees, Cool in the Gang, Earth, Wind and Fire side of disco, and then there's, for lack of a better term, the lame white disco, the Rolling Stones, the Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You
Oh,
disco,
disco Kiss. Yeah.
the Disco Duck disco,
Oh God.
he's and his cast of idiots.
But as far as those
Yeah.
other bands, I will mention. I would just say this much. I smeared my lipstick when I kissed my finger. Can I borrow some of yours? Okay, ready? Just like in rehearsal. 1, 2, 3, kick. 1, 2, 3, kick.
Those guys, if they're with wussy little dance moves.
Yep. Anytime Beavis and Butthead make fun of like Poison, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, my favorite thing is like all it took to kill Winger was Stewart on Beavis and Butthead wearing one of his shirts for everybody to realize like
Yep.
this entire thing is lame as fuck.
Sharon, Rolling Stones and Kiss both dipped into disco in the late 70s.
They did.
They're not
And
disco.
I
but
like
they-
Rolling Stones and disco plenty, but I'm not going to defend their disco projects. They were.
Electric Light Orchestra also did that. The album Discovery has the word disco in the word Discovery. So that one was more mixed in reception. Although that was the one with "Don't Bring Me Down" on it, and that was one of their biggest hits. So
I guess that song can kind of loosely be considered disco, but it's kind of tenuous to call it that.
Yeah. At any rate, getting off the track a little bit. Sorry about that. No, Eden is not like those. It definitely reminds me more of actual burgeoning metal of the time. I could definitely hear some Priest in there. Some what do I say? Like, what little I know of Skid Row remind me of that as well. Like, this is more of the side of metal that is just deceptively technical. It's just, it hit hard when it needed to. It knew what its tempo was. I especially thought Gone Too Far was a great one, and Judgment Day just before that was really good as well. I wish I had more to say specifically, but not having known anything or even this band's existence before, to get something like this from the middle of the 80s that reminds me that yes, there was good metal in the 80s if you look past the clouds of Hairspray. It's good shit.
I will
The
say,
one last thing I will say, just if you did enjoy that, Eden never released any other albums beyond that. However, a band that would have eventually become Eden started, or at least some of the members started in a band called August Redstone, and there is an August Redstone EP. So, and also an album they released in 2010, which has some of the songs from the EP re-recorded.
Neato.
So yeah, go on YouTube, check out the August Redstone EP.
Gotcha.
Yes, Sharon, Kiss and Rolling Stones are more rock, but they experimented with disco in the late 70s.
They did.
The whole album Dynasty was
sometimes
Kiss's experiment with disco.
Thankfully, I don't. For what it's worth, I will say, like those albums that those songs were off of, Dynasty and Some Girls respectively, they were not disco albums. It was more so just like the lead single was a disco song. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that kind of unfairly clouds the rest of the album. Because Some Girls especially, I would consider to be one of Rolling Stone's better albums.
It is one of their most celebrated ones from what I remember. Also, the SEO on YouTube is currently being an asshole. I can't find the August Redstone album, so if you could link that to us when you get
I will
the chance.
Do that. I will do that.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to say Eden is a band that is so obscure. I actually had to go to the Encyclopedia Metallum to look them up. And as far as the album itself, I was pretty blown away by it. And it's like, that album rocks. And why
it's really fucking good.
Yeah. Why it was relegated to obscurity and didn't catch on is just beyond me completely. As far
this is why I'm not in so much into music from a certain point past the 21st century, because there's still so much great shit from the 20th century that I haven't discovered, and this is a prime example of that.
There you go.
Oh, all right.
Now, as far as any standout tracks, The Looking Glass and Panic in the City were the ones that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Solid picks. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them.
So, in order to move this along, Mike, hit us.
Well, the last one that I had was from one of the most influential bands of the 90s trip-hop movement, from which we also got Massive Attack, Tricky, and Sneaker Pimps, the latter of which I know Rob's familiar with to an extent.
I am.
Yep. I went with the debut album of the band Portishead, the album Dummy, which is low-key, jazzy, smooth, somewhat depressing and downtrodden, but just such an interesting vibe that I don't know if it's fair to call it a comfort album in my case, but just like this one just takes me back to a rather interesting place in the 90s that every time I put it on, it's just like, I want to say like Sour Times was like their first really big hit for the era, and it was just like the words are sort of failing me, just that it proved that, you know, Portishead was definitely a band to check out, and they made a sophomore album and then didn't do anything for a long time. Then they made a third album, didn't do much after that. It's a shame that we only have 3 albums of theirs to go by, because god damn do I want more Portishead. And the Dummy is probably their most overall consistent album, but the latter two has a lot of great shit on them as well. And it's a very blue album. Like, the cover is blue. It feels like this be cast in very blue light, like Blue's the movie. I don't know how to... Yeah, not like Eiffel 65. At least I hope not. But it's just got such an evocative overall mood to it.
Can we just take a break and play Tekken for like 30 seconds, like Eiffel 65 did on that one song?
They actually did do that? Holy shit.
Oh yeah, My Console. Check that song out. That's
Jesus.
That's the other kind of semi-big song they did besides I'm Blue. Check that one out. It's fantastically stupid.
Gotcha.
It's just them talking about PlayStation games they like, and then like midway through the song they take a break for 30 seconds just to play Tekken.
That's kind of fucking amazing.
I know, right?
Anyway, but Logan, what did you think of Dummy?
First of all, I just want to make a correction. It's August Red Moon, and I posted the link in the Discord.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much.
That was my fault. I made a mistake. As for the album, the Portishead one, I really liked it. Not not the same as the Beastie Boys thing. Um,
No, definitely not.
yeah, was doing. Fun fact: I was actually doing a series on one of my alt channels years ago, called "Getting into Trip Hop," where I
Ooh.
tried to get into a bunch of trip hop bands. Portishead was on the list, but unfortunately, I never got to it by the time I did that series. I ultimately like kind of cut the series short and never got a chance to go to Portishead, and that's a shame because it was really good. First of all, yeah, I did not know they only did 3 studio albums. I thought they were a lot bigger than they were, but
They definitely should have been. I think Beth Gibbons did an album. Yeah. Beth Gibbons actually did a solo album by the name of Out of Season. It is something of a different tack from the rest of Portishead. But...
Who did that?
Oh, Beth Gibbons. She's the vocalist.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. That's probably pretty good. But yeah, I'm listening to this album reminded me why I wanted to get into this genre in the first place. I love the vibe of bands like this. Tricky, Gold, yeah, Tricky, Goldfrapp, Thievery Corporation is another really good one. Check out their song "Marching the Hate Machines."
Sounds good.
Yeah. Some of the tracks feel a little bit aimless. Yes, the vibe is still there, but I feel they didn't work so well as actual quote unquote songs. Some songs like It's a Fire just feel a little bit fillery. That said, some of the standout tracks, Sour Times, Strangers, and Glory Box, which is the last song on the album, and probably the one I'm most familiar with, mainly because there was another pop song, name escapes me, but another pop song that uses that as a sample. I'm sorry if I feel uninterested. Anyway. I want to say it was a Sia song, which, if that's the case, that wouldn't surprise me. That's how Sia actually started, was in the trip hop scene, featuring on, I forget who it was, but some other trip hop artist. Like, Sia used to be super legit, and then she kind of sold out.
Yeah, unfortunately. I did want to say, though, mentioning fillery bits here and there, something I realized on this, more so with my choices than what you guys picked, but something I realized is that it is really, really hard to just make an album where every single track is a standout. Like, just due to the law of averages, it almost seems like a consequence that a few tracks are just going to end up fillery. And I actually wonder how many bands themselves are cognizant of that, and like they know for some that they have to, like, you know, tone it down because not everything's going to be a single. So
and that's the thing. Well, that's the thing too. Is like you kind of like. You have to, especially if you're a band that is released, you know, if you're like a bigger band, like, you know, like a Rolling Stones or a Van Halen or a Rush or something like that, like, and you've released like 10 plus albums, like, just law of averages, some songs are going to be kind of fillery. For every, like, you know, Closer to the Heart and Tom Sawyer and Limelight, there's going to be another, what was it, Saitan or whatever? That fucking one song.
Yeah. The one that Getty himself admitted was an outright error. He used that word for it.
Yeah, I think. I
got to agree. It was a total.
Wasn't there one Rush song called like? It was either a Rush song or a Dream Theater song, and it was called like an exercise in self-indulgence or something like that.
That was Dream Theater. That was definitely Dream Theater. And I forget if it was Dream Theater or if it was Liquid Tension Experiment, which was like a offshoot band of theirs. But I have definitely heard it was Dream Theater. In self, I have to remember this. Anyway, we are certainly. Oh wait, no. An exercise that was the subtitle to La Via Strangiato, which is one of the few Rush songs that Dyer doesn't care for.
Yep.
Bring that back though. I'm glad that you really dug Dummy though. I'm glad this one resonated as much as it did.
What do you think, Dyer?
Yes.
Dyer.
Now, that wasn't me snoring just to be funny. That is honestly kind of how I felt while listening to it. Not because I was bored, but because it's so slow. I felt like if I had a warm glass of milk, I would have taken a nap. It's very lullaby-like.
Well, I do think it definitely has a low-key energy to it, but...
I mean, that's the genre. That comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm. It's too slow for my taste.
Well, that's a shame. I thought you might have dug this one a bit more because of the Sneaker Pimps, but...
Sneaker Pimps, at least, some of their songs had a little more energy to them.
Spin Spin Sugar did, I'll give you that.
This just felt like it was just slow all the way through. That, however, I do have a couple of standout tracks.
I feel like you need to be like talking up close and personal into the microphone, like someone on NPR. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Yeah. And this is.
I will say maybe you weren't in the right mood for this one, but if that's how you felt, it is what it is. Anyway, your standout tracks.
Yeah, It Could Be Sweet and Pedestal.
Fair choices.
No, not the song Tricky, not to be confused.
Yeah, no, the artist Tricky.
There's a trip-hop band called Tricky.
Yeah, the album Max and Quay, that was one of the really big tent poles of trip-hop for its era. But, I'm surprised nobody mentioned Rhodes, which is just so depressing, maybe almost melodramatic, but... yeah, Rhodes is a good one. I think it was on the soundtrack to Tank Girl, if I'm not mistaken.
Quite possibly.
Nice.
All right, that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And with my final pick...
We did okay.
Yeah, not bad. Now, my final pick is by the band Fair to Midland. It's called Arrows and Anchors. It was one of the only two major label albums they did. And... the first one is called, I think it's Fables from a Mayfly. And they kind of have almost like a 19th century feel with a lot of their album titles and artwork and such. And it's like, where are you going to find, songs with names like Copper Tank Island? It's like, stuff like that. So, all I know is I was recommended them years ago by a friend of mine named Jason, who told me, he's like, we both like alternative. If you've never heard these guys, you need to check them out. I did, and I bought both albums. So, and I found out later they had a couple of other ones which are independently released. Listen to those, and those are both decent. But Arrows and Anchors is the one that really stood out for me. So, Logan, what'd you think?
To start out, I would like to first say that my review of this album is it goes from fair to mid. No, I'm kidding.
I was thinking of something like that too, to be fair.
Yeah, on a scale of from bad to good, I say this lands somewhere from fair to mid. I wrote in my list best Dream Theater album ever, and then right below that I wrote I take it back, Dream Theater never had this much variety. Some of the standout tracks, Heavens to Murgatroyd even, Ricky Tikki Tavi, and Golden Parachute, and Copper Tank Island is one of my standouts as well. When Ricky Tikki Tavi came on, I genuinely had to check to make sure this was still the same album and that this wasn't just some Serge side project. And apparently Serge Tankian was the one who discovered this band and signed them to their label.
Oh, very true. That's very true.
Yeah, I looked into that, and yeah, that 100% stands to reason. Overall, quite a rich musical journey, I would say, is the best way to describe it. I'm definitely going to have to check out more from these guys. And my closing thought...
Nice closing thought there. All right. Mike?
Yep. I would say of the albums that you picked, for better or worse, this one was definitely the most all over the place. That's not necessarily a bad thing per se, but yeah, like Logan, I did wonder occasionally, I'm sure this one had no pretensions of ever being a concept album, as it were, but Ricky Tikki Tavi almost sounded like it was bordering on something
like there was some sort of overarching concept.
Oh, well, there might have been then. That's probably all me that I missed.
That way, but I can't say for sure.
But yeah, I since you mentioned Ricky Tikki Tavi, that one almost reminded me of Sepultura, if that makes sense. But that's not necessarily a bad thing per se. The lead vocalist Darrow Suter, if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know. He reminds me quite a bit of Burton C. Bell from Fear Factory in that he can be very melodic or he can be very intense and growly when he wants to.
That makes total sense. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So ringing on the edge of Fear Factory, I can see why this one hits so much for Rob. And I thought it was also very good. If I had to pick an album that I wasn't as into as the 5 that Rob picked, it might be this one, but like I said, that might just be due to its inconsistency. It is one that I would like to give a listen to again, as well as the one before this, Fables from a Mayfly, because it's undoubtedly a very interesting sound that they have going. Just one that I think might be a little bit more of an acquired taste than what else has been presented. But I think we can all agree that, yeah, absolutely. No, they definitely should have gotten more of rock in general just kind of plunged in the 2010s, and if they had more of a standing after Arrows and Anchors, at least they'd stand out as some awesome alt metal that would not have made me lose faith in the entire medium of music during that decade. Luckily, we found Ghosts, so it wasn't a total bust, but still. But yeah, we agreed that definitely that Copper Tank Island's a real tentpole for this one. I also really liked Whiskey and Ritalin and Musical Chairs a lot, the latter of which also got a video to it. So they did have their cup of coffee in the big time, to quote Randy Savage. It's just, I do agree, they definitely should have gotten more going for them than they did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So.
But yeah.
And there you have it. We managed to...
I would also like to point out that while Ricky Tikki Tavi is probably my favorite song on the album, not as good as the Donovan track.
Yeah, that featured in Barbarian. I can't not remember that one. It's a good one.
Oh, when I got into
but
it,
yeah.
I found out how to kill him myself.
Honestly,
it's a strange one, but I like it.
Whenever I think of Donovan, all I can think of is his bit on Futurama.
That was excellent.
Yeah. Mike and I were thinking of the Donovan song at the same time.
Ted Turner.
Yep.
And the Magician. The Magician? And also Jane Fonda was there.
And Jane Fonda was there.
Just
These are all the people who went to my totally awesome birthday party.
just the whole thing,
Excuse me.
the magician. It's like, where'd that come from? Anyway, so we made it through.
Bottom line, if you take away nothing from this stream, listen to Donovan. Thank you. Good night.
Right. So, Donovan did not sing the Futurama theme song. It's an instrumental theme song. He did a bit about how
there was that one episode of Futurama where he was talking about the lost city of Atlanta.
Yeah. Instead of Atlantis, it was Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta was once landlocked.
I don't know. Play that Diane Sawyer song or some shit. I don't know.
Anyway, so we made it through it. And if we end up doing another one, you'll definitely find out in the future. We'll try and make it a little more speedy and hopefully not have any more power outages because of stupid bomb cyclones that are sending their effects our way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that if we did another 3-person show like this, that maybe we should just pick 4 albums next time.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ground.
Sorry, I'm a nerd.
Hey, no problem. No, hey, we had a lot more to say about these than we thought we would, and it is what it is. We usually have a lot more to say about everything. Like, there's a subject that I didn't think Dyer would expect to stretch to 3 fucking hours, and yet we did it anyway, but I can't remember what that subject was.
There's been a couple of them, honestly.
It was how memorable the subject matter was. Also, I'm just used to like going at least like an hour longer. I usually go to like at least like 1:30, but you know, Grandpa got to sleep, I guess. No, I'm joking.
Right, you say, Sonny? I'm currently
What's
shaking.
that, Sonny? I'm listening to Portishead.
I'm currently shaking my fist at a cloud. And it sounds like Snarb wants to be on one of these.
Yes, dude, we'd love to have you. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
If we have
I'm cold
4 of us,
wolves after me.
we're going to have to go ahead and pare it down to 3 albums per person at that point.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. 4-way with 3, that's still 12. I think we can definitely...
Yeah, I don't know. If you wanted to do this again, but with a different person, I would not blame you.
We'll just see
Fair Bingus, man. It was good. Go ahead.
We'll see what happens, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was good having you
for
on.
one, would love to do this again if you would have me back on.
Well, it's been fun,
Hey,
so it's certainly not out of the realm of
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah, it has been good having you on. You really know your shit about music. Sorry at cruelly laughing at the Eminem thing. That felt really venomous of me.
No, yeah. You know what? I give you permission to disagree with me about music, just as long as you don't take offense to the fact that I... And for what it's worth, I will say about that Paul's Boutique album, there were things I did like about it. Namely, just about everything that doesn't have to do with the vocals or, like, actual material.
Yeah, it's dawning on me that Beastie Boys maybe aren't as evergreen as I thought they were. It might come from bias on my brother.
Yeah,
that might come from bias on my brother.
We all have to come to that conclusion at some point in our lives.
Yeah,
like John Lennon was that for me. Like, well, John Lennon and also Sex Pistols, I think, were the 2 bands that were like, I loved this in high school. Oh, these are just like preachy man children.
You're preaching to the choir here, man.
Yeah.
Especially with this guy in the room.
I still like John Lennon, but I don't worship him like I did in high school.
I don't like the Beatles. I definitely don't like John Lennon. But solo stuff by the other 3, I'm okay with.
Oh, hell yeah. Temporary Secretary. Crank it.
Yes! Fuck yeah!
Temporary Secretary.
I actually kind of unironically love that song now. It's in
I
a
don't know. I
weird way.
genuinely love Temporary Secretary. It's great. It's great.
Yep.
Honestly, that album itself is pretty good. Check out the song Dark Room. I'm surprised that has not been used as a sample in a hip hop track yet.
Huh. Dark Room. Gotcha.
Hello, Paul. Hello, John.
Hey, sounds good.
Fancy a cup of tea?
Oh, of course, my favorite Beatles song, It's Okay to Leave Your Dog in a Hot Car. That's my favorite one. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think John wrote that one. He hates dogs. He bloody hates dogs.
That was hilarious.
Oh, Lozzie. That was pretty great, yeah.
So, we are going to take off for the night. So, again, thanks for coming on, Logan.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. And, Mike, you're Mike. Always
I
have
am.
been, always will be.
Thank you for having me. Again, though, I don't feel like I get the chance to nerd out about music enough, but I always feel like my tastes are not as well developed as they could be. I'm still learning about what like really good music is, so I'm always up to learn more.
Yeah, well, that said, maybe you'll discover something else next time I do one of these.
Yeah.
I hope to, yeah. And I think I've discovered some good shit here as it is. So
There you go.
yeah, definitely.
He is Mike, not to be confused with his, not to be conformed with his evil twin, Ike.
I like Ike.
Yeah. Thank you, Indy. Thank you, Indy.
Everybody likes Ike.
Anyway, so as far as any future streams coming up, if we do another one in the near future, it'll be about 2 weeks from now. That is up in the air. I don't even know what we talk about yet, but we'll find out. So if nothing else, we may see you guys in 2 weeks, or maybe not. I don't know. If I get hip deep in writing this book again, I may have to take additional time off.
Fair deal.
All right.
That said, thanks for coming on by, everybody, and sorry about that glitch earlier, but it was completely beyond any of our control.
It's okay. You're Floridian. We forgive you.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
I am not even from Florida. I'm just here, and I can't wait to leave.
Yeah.
So, living in America's Wang, a.k.a. Hurricane Hellhole.
America's Wang!
We prefer to call it the Sunshine State.
A.k.a. Mosquito
Place
Heaven.
where the sun don't shine.
Pretty much. I remember when coming down here as a kid and it raining like the entire time. It's like, they call this the Sunshine State? All right. So enough of that. We're taking off. Good night, everybody. And as always,
Take care.
and have a fun.
Enjoy.